For more than 1,000 years, one city stood at the crossroads of the world. Between Europe and Asia, between past and future. Between worlds that were born, collided, and disappeared.
Constantinople was not merely a capital. It was the last living memory of Rome. When the Western Roman Empire collapsed under invasions and internal decay, many believed that the Roman world had come to an end. Cities burned, roads fell silent, authority vanished. But Rome did not truly die. It survived in the East, reborn in a city founded by Emperor Constantine on the shores of the Bosphorus. From Constantinople, emperors ruled a realm that preserved Roman law, Greek philosophy, and Christian faith. This empire called itself Roman. History would later name it Byzantine, but to its people, it was the continuation of an unbroken imperial tradition. For centuries, Constantinople was the richest city in Europe. Ships arrived from every corner of the known world. Silk from China, spices from India, grain from Egypt, gold from Africa. Its streets echoed with dozens of languages. Its churches shimmered with marble and mosaics. At the heart of the city stood Hagia Sophia Croce, so vast, so luminous, that many believed heaven itself had descended to earth. The city's greatest strength, however, lay in its walls. The Theotian walls were a marvel of ancient engineering, kilometers of stone fortifications reinforced with towers and deep moats. They withstood every siege. Persians, Arabs, Bulgars, Crusaders. For nearly 1,000 years, Constantinople remained unconquered. The city became a symbol of permanence in a world defined by collapse. As long as Constantinople stood, the Roman world endured. But history does not respect symbols. By the 15th century, the Byzantine Empire had become a shadow of its former self. Vast provinces were lost. Greece was fragmented. The imperial treasury stood empty. The population of Constantinople declined sharply. Entire districts fell silent and empty. What remained was a magnificent shell, ancient, proud, and isolated. Beyond the city walls, the world had changed. The Middle Ages were drawing to a close, and a new era was being born. Gunpowder had transformed warfare forever. Fortresses believed to be impregnable could now be reduced to ruins. Old walls no longer guaranteed survival, and on the lands of Anatolia, a new power was rising: the Ottomans. Hardened by generations of near-constant warfare, they steadily expanded their domains across Asia Minor and the Balkans. They absorbed their rivals, defeated Crusader armies, and quickly adapted to new technologies. By the middle of the 15th century, Constantinople was surrounded on all sides by Ottoman lands, cut off from any real assistance. The city was Naxeda. The city had become an island. In 1451, a new sultan ascended the Ottoman throne. His name was Mehmed. He was only 19 years old, but his ambition far exceeded his age. From an early youth, Mehmed had been obsessed with Constantinople. He studied its history, its geography, and its defenses. He understood that conquering the city would grant him not only territory, but legitimacy, glory, and a place among the greatest rulers in history. Previous sultans had tried and failed. Mehmed would not repeat their mistakes. He prepared meticulously. He strengthened the navy to control the sea. He secured alliances and neutralized potential threats. Most importantly, he invested heavily in a new weapons that would redefine the balance between attacker and defender. Cannons. Under Mehmed's command, massive artillery pieces were cast from bronze. Some were so enormous that transporting them required teams of men, oxen, and weeks of effort. Their projectiles weighed hundreds of kilograms. When fired, they shook the earth itself. For the first time in history, the walls of Constantinople faced an enemy capable of breaking stone through sheer force. Inside the city, Emperor Constantine II faced an impossible task. He commanded barely 7,000 defenders, a Tekaylach, a mix of Byzantine soldier and foreign mercenaries, and volunteers poiders against an Ottoman army many times their size. Aid from Western Europe had failed to arrive in meaningful numbers. Centuries of religious division had left the Christian world fractured and hesitant. Constantine knew the odds, yet surrender was unthinkable. In April 1453, the siege began. Ottoman cannons roared day and night, pounding the ancient walls relentlessly. Sections of stone collapsed under the bombardment. Each night, the defenders worked desperately to repair the breaches, hauling rubble and earth by hand. Hunger spread. Hope thinned with every passing day. The defenders prayed for a miracle. None came. On the morning of May 29th, before dawn, Mehmed ordered the final assault. Waves of Ottoman soldiers surged toward the weakened defenses. The city's last defenders fought with desperation born of certainty. They knew there would be no retreat. Emperor Constantine II cast aside his imperial regalia and joined the fighting as a common soldier. When the walls were finally overrun, he vanished into the chaos. His body was never conclusively identified. By sunrise, Constantinople had fallen. After more than 11 centuries, the city that had defied the world was conquered. Churches were seized. Symbols of empire were torn down. The ancient order that had connected the modern world to classical antiquity was broken. Mehmed entered the city and claimed it as his new capital. Constantinople became Istanbul. The fall of the city sent shockwaves across Europe. Scholars fled westward, carrying ancient texts and knowledge with them. Trade routes were disrupted. pushing Europeans to seek new paths to the east. The search for those routes would eventually lead across the oceans, reshaping the globe forever. One city's fall marked the end of the Middle Ages and the beginning of the modern world. Nothing ever is.